Welcome back to tonight's Explainer. Look, we're going to jump right in because tonight is absolutely exceptional. We are literally watching the standard operating rules across our digital spaces, our entertainment ecosystems, and get this, even the physical universe itself being completely rewritten. There is a ton of groundbreaking data to get through, so let's just break it all down.
I mean, just wrap your head around the sheer scale of the disruptions we're dealing with right now. We're not talking about some run-of-the-mill software patch or a slightly delayed game release. We are looking at the potential collapse of major, beloved gaming studios, a historic space discovery that literally defies the laws of physics, and a massive security warning that could compromise the dev infrastructure of thousands of orgs. So, what do portal cubes, pirate ships, and impossible galaxies actually have in common? I know. It sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, right? But tonight, they are the absolute focal points of these massive interconnected shifts in how we understand our digital and physical realities. Let's look at how this all unpacks. To make sense of the chaos, we're splitting this explainer into 4 quick chapters. Number 1, gaming's harsh realities. 2, beloved franchises resurrected. 3, JWST breaks physics. And 4, AI tools under attack. All right, starting off with part 1, gaming's harsh realities and the true cost of disruption. The harsh legal reality hitting our first story revolves around a swift, brutal cease and desist. So Dbrand, you know them, famous for those aggressive marketing campaigns and bold accessories, well, they just hit a massive brick wall. They poured over 1,000 hours of engineering into this custom $100 wrap for the Steam Deck that looked exactly like the iconic companion cube from Portal. The only problem? They didn't have a license from Valve. Actually, they didn't even bother to ask. So Valve instantly issued a cease and desist order. Boom. Dbrand had to cancel their flagship product, refund every single pre-order, and publicly admit they messed up big time. It's just a brutal reminder that no matter how much sweat equity you put in, if you cross the IP boundaries of a giant like Valve, your project is getting shut down. End of story. And that perfectly segues into an even darker reality in the gaming sector right now. Today, June 30th, marks the fiscal year-end for Microsoft, which means brutal studio restructuring. Just look at Undead Labs. We're talking roughly 110 employees, the team behind the massive State of Decay franchise. Microsoft is actively hunting for a buyer for them right now. If they don't find one, the studio goes under. And the crazy, bitter irony here is that State of Decay 3 was literally just shown off for the PS5 at the recent Xbox event. The game is reportedly in its final polish phase, but those 110 devs have no idea if they're going to have a job tomorrow. And it's not just them. Compulsion Games, Double Fine, Ninja Theory, they are all at risk, threatening to wipe out decades of institutional knowledge across the entire Xbox portfolio. Moving right along to part 2, beloved franchises resurrected and how they're rewriting the rules. Okay, let's look at how the rules are actually being rewritten in a good way, specifically with Blizzard's highly secretive future. For the longest time, there was this massive Warcraft leak from 2025 that everyone totally dismissed as fake. But thanks to some recent Wowhead data mining, they found Project Camelot sitting right there in the Battle.net server files, and it validated this entire timeline. Just look at what's coming our way. In 2026, we get WoW Classic Plus, and we aren't talking about a lazy rehash. We mean a full-blown alternate history with new classes and progression. Then 2027 and 2028 bring major Hollywood TV adaptations. Late 2028, we finally get Chronicles, the first true Warcraft RTS since way back in 2003. And honestly, the craziest part might be 2029, which brings a whole action RPG that chronicles the tragic descent of Arthas. This completely validates that Blizzard is finally listening to what fans actually want and expanding how we experience this lore. And speaking of rewriting the rules for our favorite classics, you have to see these specs. Assassin's Creed Black Flag is officially returning on July 9th, 2026. But this resynced version isn't just a basic upscale. Ubisoft completely rebuilt this 2013 pirate masterpiece from scratch in the newest Emble engine. We are talking full-on ray tracing, gorgeous lumen lighting, and totally revamped parkour and naval physics. Plus, it runs natively at 4K and 60 frames per second on next-gen consoles, and even throws in new expanded islands to explore. Now, a quick side note, if you caught that recent PS5 Pro trailer and thought, this looks a bit money, don't panic. That was just heavy YouTube compression absolutely destroying the fidelity of the new lighting systems. The actual game looks incredible. All right, let's shift gears for part 3, JWST breaks physics. This is literally like a bug in the universe's source code. Okay, so the crucial detail is sitting right smack in the middle of this cosmic timeline. The James Webb Space Telescope just spotted a galaxy cluster named XLSC 122. Now, this thing is 10.4 billion light years away, which places it right in the middle of an era we call cosmic noon. Here's the catch. Based on our entire understanding of physics, any cluster from that era should be super young, chaotic, and diffuse. But XLSC 122, it's acting as a strong gravitational lens, which proves it has this incredibly compact, highly evolved dark matter core. To put it simply, it is billions of years more mature than the universe's timeline says it should be. It literally shouldn't exist.
Dr. Mark Broadwin, who actually led this research over at the University of Missouri, summed up the absolute shock of the scientific community perfectly. He just said, "This doesn't match any of our simulations." Think about what that means. If this cluster isn't just some freak statistical anomaly, it means our fundamental models of physics are wrong, or at least incomplete. We might have to completely rewrite everything we know about how fast dark matter clumps together, or even go back to the drawing board on how gravity itself worked on a cosmic scale in the early universe. This one single observation could rewrite the entire timeline of the cosmos.
And that brings us right back down to Earth for Part 4, AI Tools Under Attack. Let's talk cybersecurity. This is a critical warning for all the developers tuning in tonight, because our analysis reveals a genuinely chilling reality. The traditional security perimeter is gone. It has completely dissolved. If you are using AI coding assistants right now, whether that's GitHub Copilot, Cursor, Claude, whatever, you are actively in the crosshairs of a rapidly spreading malware called GinStealer. Cybercriminals see the explosion of AI adoption, and they know that stealing an API key for an AI tool is basically a golden ticket right into your company's deepest, most sensitive code repositories. So here is exactly how this modern digital plague is sneaking past standard security perimeters. GinStealer heavily exploits CVE 2026-4858. Now, that is a critical authentication bypass flaw in Simple Help RMM, which is a remote management software used by over 6,000 organizations. That means the attackers don't even need to crack your password to get in. Once they exploit that flaw, or, maybe they just trick a dev with a malicious NPM package or a fake AI app, they scrape your entire machine. They're grabbing GitHub credentials, AWS access keys, OpenAI tokens, the whole shebang. It literally just takes one infected developer to hand over the keys to the entire enterprise kingdom.
So, what do you actually need to do right now? You have to implement these 3 mitigation steps immediately. First, if your org uses Simple Help, you need to update it to version 5.5.3 or higher right this second to patch that vulnerability. Step 2, operate under the assumption that you are already compromised and rotate all your API keys, access tokens, and cloud credentials. And Step 3, enable two-factor authentication everywhere and use hardware keys if you can. Whatever you do, do not store your API keys in code committed to your repos. Security firms are watching this spread like wildfire, so you really need to lock down your dev environments tonight. Tonight's stories really perfectly illustrate just how fragile and deeply interconnected our modern ecosystems are. I mean, think about it. A simple lack of a license completely wipes out 1,000 hours of design work. A corporate restructuring at fiscal year-end leaves legendary gaming franchises hanging by a thread. One single image from a telescope fundamentally breaks our timeline of the universe, and a single software vulnerability threatens the very AI tools we're relying on to build our future. The rules are quite literally changing right under our feet in real time. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this question to think about. How are you adapting to this rapidly shifting digital landscape? Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Stay secure out there, and as always, never stop learning.